Hey y'all, my name is Tanny and I love to cook. Look at this delicious plate of lamb chops. A rack of lamb I cut up into several different preparations. Let's get to cooking. So you can start with buying your lamb chops already cut. Look at the price per pound at Publix, $24.19 per pound. It's cheaper if you buy the whole rack, which is what I prefer to do. This is also halal meat, indicating the way that it was slaughtered. You can see the nutrition facts. So, of course, I'm starting off by washing my meat. Now, this was a 2-pack of a rack of lamb that I bought from Sam's Club. You can find these at great prices at Sam's Club or Costco's or even your local grocery store. So, I'll wash my meat off, and there are items that we need to clean on this meat. So, we're going to dry it off, and you can see in the background the seasonings that I'm going to use for my lamb chops as I dry them off and place them on their respective plastic cutting boards. So you want to notice that there is fat on the rack of lamb and some silver skin. So we're going to cut off some of the fat, but not all of it. We want some fat for flavor, but not enough that it's so greasy. There's also silver skin on the bones that we want to clear up just so they don't get too charred during the cooking process. So you just want a small knife or paring knife. Now I end up getting my bigger one because it was sharper. I was too lazy to go get my better paring knife, but I'm using it here safely so I didn't cut myself, which is the most important thing. And you just want to cut off some of the fat. Now this may be trial and error for you to cook a couple of racks for yourself to decide how much fat you really want to leave. But if you see a thick piece of fat, then you definitely want to make sure you cut that off. And my cutting board, the plastic one, was slipping and sliding, which is a no-no when you are cutting anything with a knife. So I put a kitchen towel, a clean kitchen towel, even though you can see a turmeric stain on it. It is clean. I put that under my cutting board to stabilize it, which I should have did from the beginning. So there you go. Go ahead and cut the fat off. It's best if you use your knife to cut the fat away from you just for safety reasons. And you don't have to sliver off a big chunk of fat at a time. You can do small cuts and just take your time and work through it. On the back side, you want to be sure that you cut off the skin that's in between each bone there and on each bone. Oh, and there's the pro tip about putting the towel under your kitchen mat. So use a knife. You can actually use a butter knife for that. It will work better and be safer to just slide it up the bone in order to cut the skin that's on the back. And we're going to use a paper towel or a hand towel to pull the silver skin off, just like you do with a rack of pork ribs or barbecue beef ribs. You want to cut that skin off the back so that your seasonings will be able to penetrate the meat and make the meat more tender and flavorful. So we're doing that with our rack of lamb. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't come off in one big piece, just make a cut and use your paper towel to pull off the silver skin. There's no rush, no hurry. The most important thing is that you do it safely. So just slide your knife in under the skin and wiggle it left or right. Oh, I got a big piece here. That's what you want. So now I flipped it over and I am ready to slice my lamb chops off of the rack. So you want to use the back of your knife to slice the end of the knife. And actually you can cut this in 2 bones like I did here. Later I'm going to cut some into 1 bone chop. So if you know that you like your meat well done, which is not generally recommended for lamb, but if that's how you know you want to eat it, then the single chops may be better for you so that it cooks quicker or more deeply on both sides. I like doing 2 bones because I like my lamb chops medium rare, the same as I like my ribeye steaks. And be sure to use a sharp knife to cut through these bones safely. So now I'm just grabbing my second rack and I'm going to repeat the process. It's important to remove this silver skin. It really makes a difference because it's chewy after you cook it. So you don't want any extra chewiness. This meat is really tender and decadent and melt in your mouth. And you want to get that full effect when your people are eating it, the people that you cooked it for. or even yourself if you're cooking it for yourself. So let's cut up this rack of lamb, and hopefully this is a better angle for you to see me cut into the single lamb chops. There we go. So I have both racks of lamb cut up, and I have my bowl out because I'm going to marinate this meat. I'm using one of my oven bags made from Reynolds Kitchen. You can use any kind of freezer plastic bag that's food safe, and just put your meat into the bag, and then we're going to add our seasonings. So the seasonings I'm going to add: Lowry seasoning salt, ground black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, smoked paprika, complete seasoning. Oxtail seasoning is good for any beef. I'm also using liquid smoke and mustard powder. I'm starting off with my olive oil. That's just going to create a nice base for all of the seasoning to adhere to. And then here's the liquid smoke. That adds a great flavor if you're cooking your meat indoors and not outdoors on a charcoal grill. So here's the oxtail seasoning, or really it's all-purpose beef seasoning to me. Complete seasoning. I'm not measuring this. You just want to make sure your meat is sufficiently covered. And here's the smoked paprika. Dried mustard. This mustard is in a canister that doesn't have a top with filtered holes, so be careful when you're pouring it out. Garlic powder. And if you don't like garlic or onion or black pepper, you can leave out any one of these ingredients, or 2 or 3 of them if you don't like them. Season this to your tasting, to your liking. These happen to be the seasonings that me and my family like. The only seasoning that I am conservative with is the salt. Because of high blood pressure issues, extra sodium is just not necessary. And I don't like to use too much in the beginning process, because a lot of people add salt when they get their plate of food anyway, before they even taste it to see if it needs salt. So I put on my gloves, and now I'm just massaging my meat to make sure that the seasoning is well incorporated through every piece. We're going to be pan frying this in my cast iron skillet, so each piece needs to be well seasoned to make sure it has that delicious flavor. And look at that seasoning. You can already see the paprika on it, as well as the other seasonings. So it's seasoned overnight, and now I do a few pieces into my cast iron skillet, and look at them go. Even at this stage, it's a delicious cut of meat. I love that sizzle, y'all. I don't have an exact time for you on cooking your meat. You want to use a meat thermometer. Single bones will look like this. Isn't that delicious, y'all? If you cut your bones into 2 bones per chop, then it will take a little bit longer to cook. But again, use your meat thermometer to make sure it comes out to the appropriate temperature for you. Whether you want yours rare, medium rare, well done. I don't recommend well or well done, but it's your food. Do what you want. Look at this. This is lamb chops over pasta and shrimp. So delicious. I did this for a family dinner one night, and I ended up taking it into go plates for some family that couldn't attend. And it was a hit. It's super tender, super flavorful. This is the same dish in a to-go plate. This is a dish I made for myself with some mashed potatoes and some roasted tomatoes under some seared scallops. Thank you for watching.